Let's jump right into this explainer and figure out exactly how we can secure autonomous AI agents before they, well, turn into our biggest liability. Today, we're unpacking a really incredible security framework designed to tame the wild, fast-moving frontier of agentic AI. We've got to shatter a comfortable illusion right out of the gate here. Perimeter security? Yeah, it's dead. Frontier AI models have completely compressed the exploit timeline. What used to take months now takes mere hours. And the cost to pull that off? Literally just dollars. Attackers are moving at absolute machine speed right now, using AI to find and exploit vulnerabilities that traditional tools completely missed for years. So, over the next few minutes, we're going to solve this problem together. We'll look at the next threat landscape, see exactly how autonomous agents differ from what we're used to, check out current threats, and then dive into zero trust and least agency. Finally, we'll map out a practical implementation workflow and figure out how to actually defend at machine speed. Starting things off with Section 1, the next threat landscape, and AI accelerated offense. Look, we have to recognize that the infrastructure your agents run on is totally exposed right now. The agents themselves introduce a whole new level of autonomy that just changes the game entirely. Whenever you're evaluating a security control today, I want you to apply a simple litmus test. Ask yourself, does this make the attack impossible or just tedious? You see, AI attackers have infinite patience. They have near zero per attempt costs. So friction-based controls, things like rate limits or adding extra pivot hops, they're absolutely going to fail. We need controls that remove capabilities entirely, not just speed bumps that try to slow the attacker down. Moving right along to Section 2, how autonomous agents actually differ, specifically around autonomy and tools. It's crazy how different the legacy computing paradigm is from this new reality. Unlike traditional software that just, follows a predictable, predefined script, autonomous agents make their own decisions. They use tools dynamically. They'll connect to your databases or APIs using protocols like the Model Context Protocol. And here's the kicker. They persist memory across sessions. They remember things, they learn, and they string multiple, complex steps together without a human ever being in the loop. So, let's look at Section 3, the current threats to these agents. Because of all that dynamic autonomy we just talked about, the blast radius of a compromised agent is frankly terrifying. OWASP has already identified some severe threats targeting agentic systems. We're talking prompt injection, memory poisoning, massive supply chain risks, but honestly, one of the scariest is tool and resource misuse, specifically something called tool chaining. This is where an attacker essentially tricks an agent into combining two completely safe tools into a harmful sequence. Imagine chaining a secure internal CRM tool with an external email tool to silently exfiltrate customer data. Standard monitoring won't even blink because each individual tool use looks totally legitimate. And that leads us straight into the brilliant, yet terrifying, danger of indirect prompt injection. Microsoft research really hit the nail on the head here. LLMs just cannot reliably tell the difference between informational context and actionable instructions. What does that mean for you? It means an attacker can hide malicious instructions in a standard, everyday external web page. When your agent goes out to read that page for research, it executes those hidden instructions like they were a legitimate request from you. The user never even sees the payload. Just let this number sink in for a second. 250. Research from Anthropic shows that injecting just 250 malicious documents into the massive training data of a model can successfully backdoor an LLM. 250. That is a drop in the bucket. And those backdoors persist even through rigorous safety training. It really proves just how absolutely critical supply chain and dependency risks are when you're deploying these models. All right, let's talk solutions in Section 4, zero trust, least agency, and why we have to assume breach. To solve these massive vulnerabilities, we have to completely shift our paradigm to zero trust. That means trust nothing, verify everything, and operate like a breach has already happened. And this introduces a really cool concept, least agency. We all know least privilege for human users, right? Well, least agency extends that to autonomous tools. It means strictly restricting what each agent tool can do, how often it can do it, and exactly where. In practice, this ensures your email summarizer agent has literally zero physical capability to actually send an email, and a database query tool absolutely cannot alter records. We are hardwiring limits onto the agent's blast radius. We can actually build this security posture out across 3 maturity tiers: Foundation, Enterprise, and Advanced. You can kind of track how an organization evolves here. starting from basic foundational cryptographic identities and static privileges, moving up to enterprise-level sandboxed execution, all the way to the top with advanced hardware isolation and just-in-time access. If your organization operates at any real scale, that enterprise tier needs to be your target. And hey, notice how static API keys aren't even on the foundation tier anymore? Yeah, they are just way too easily exploited now. Short-lived tokens are the new absolute baseline. Okay, Section 5, the implementation workflow for repeatable security. To actually bring these zero-trust tiers to life in the real world, you need a defined, repeatable process. This workflow starts at the root, managing supply chain risks using AI bill of materials, or AI bombs, to track model provenance. From there, you've got to explicitly define your agent boundaries with unique cryptographic IDs so you can actually trace what's happening. Next up, treat every single input as untrusted to defend against injection. Then strictly allow list your tool capabilities. Deny by default is going to be your best friend here. And finally, safeguard that agent memory. You have to enforce strict session isolation so that if one session gets a poisoned context, it doesn't just immediately infect the next one. Finally, Section 6, defending at machine speed using agentic SOAR. Because here's the reality. Securing the agents up front is really only the first half of the battle. You also have to run your defensive operations fast enough to actually contend with these AI-accelerated attackers who can compromise a system in literally minutes. So, when you're deploying Agentic SOAR, that's security orchestration, automation, and response, you need a brand new mantra. Automate the bookkeeping, humans make the decisions. You want your defensive AI modders to capture the artifacts, take the notes, pursue parallel investigations, and even draft the postmortem. But humans absolutely must make the final containment calls, the disclosure calls, and the communications to customers. The goal here is simple. Do not let human reaction time be bottlenecked by evidence collection. We literally have to fight AI fire with AI fire. Put a triage agent at the very front of your alert queue to do a first-pass investigation before a human ever even sets eyes on it. It also means you need to establish emergency change procedures well in advance. You do not want to be waiting 2 weeks for a patch approval during an active breach. Map out your detection coverage against lateral movement. And honestly, my absolute favorite piece of advice here, run tabletop exercises where you assume 5 simultaneous incidents hitting in a single week. Not just 1, 5. Which brings us to the final question I want to leave you with today. Would you know within an hour if an agent went rogue? Seriously, are you architecting your AI agents for a breach from day one? Or would an attacker's persistent memory poisoning just go completely unnoticed in your enterprise for months? It is a massive, critical shift in mindset from perimeter defense to continuous verification. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer today, and I really hope this gives you the blueprint you need to go out there and secure your autonomous frontier.